Today in this video, I'm really going all out for you. I brought the hand polishing aid and a medium polishing pad for all of us, because today we want to polish the paint together again. Or rather, I want to test how far we can get with hand polishing on a vehicle's hood. We have already seen the paint condition here on the B-pillars. In a previous video, we also polished the B-pillar with these products. Feel free to check that out again. We definitely achieved some good results briefly, but then realized that with a machine it works a bit better, more effectively, faster, and also clearer in terms of the surface. But let's see what we can achieve here with the Skoda Rapid KM. Using the Sonax OS. We have a cut of 2 out of 6 and a gloss of 6 out of 6 here. What can we achieve with a medium pad? How does it look if we use one that has a bit more cut? I'm really curious to see if these differences can be perceived with a hand polish. Want to emphasize again, even if no difference is noticed. I tell you, it is definitely because we are processing everything by hand. It also states here, it is intended for both hand and machine application. That's why I wanted to try it out with you directly. And we'll do a small section. Let's go. We'll take a look at the before state, and you can already see here, we definitely have a lot of small round scratches on it. Even from the image, it could definitely be a bit clearer. Go to the light here and we can see it very clearly again. So it could definitely use a bit of a nicer image. And let's see how much we can fix this by hand. So we definitely have many small circular scratches. And we can also achieve a bit better shine with that. I'll switch to a different color temperature. You can also see the differences between the various colors. And what effect that has. It's also interesting to see. Yes, and you can feel free to guess how much we can achieve. This will be a very interesting thing. We are masking off a section. When you polish by hand, definitely open the door a bit so that the alarm system is disarmed. Otherwise, you'll have a problem. The car alarm can definitely go off due to the shock, due to the vibration. Then let's apply a bit of polish. This is a medium cut Swiss a thermopad. We also used it on the B pillar. That's why I want to have a bit of a comparison. So I'll apply some polish and use the hand polishing aid from the ChemicalWorkz Clay Kit. I'll carefully place this here and then we'll test it out. So now it's time to roll up our sleeves. Let's go. First, let's spread the polish a bit. This can be done very nicely. I also think this hand polishing aid is cool because it is so nicely ergonomic. You have this indentation here, and with that, you have a really nice grip. It feels just like door handle. And that is simply a big advantage in my opinion. It holds nicely in the hand. I think that's very cool. For those who can't stand squeaking, you can turn off the sound now. Spread it nicely. These are always the dry spots on the pad here on the side, maybe towards the outside, but it can't be avoided in the long run. So this noise is just going to happen now. This is also because the paint is extremely rough. So, now give it your all. You can work in circular motions. Or you can also work in these straight movements. You can also apply a bit more pressure. If the squeaking gets on your nerves, just use a bit more polish. It doesn't hurt when hand polishing anyway. You could reduce that a bit more, because then the gliding effect is a bit higher. But it wouldn't be completely gone. You can definitely always have it with you. You can already notice it's getting less. But if you really press down on it, it can still happen. Almost gone. 2001. And now imagine doing this on an entire hood. Guys, we'll go crazy. So you can do small areas or touch up a bit or say, okay, maybe I brushed against a bush somewhere, so there's a little bit of that or a bit of surface roughness. You can certainly do that. But imagine having to polish the entire hood like that. That's how it was done in the past. So respect to everyone who used to do this with polish over some applicator pad or be a piece of cloth. I have the utmost respect for you. You have such strong arms. But our flabby generation here, we are already completely worn out after half a hood. That's why there are polishing machines. Because it really strains your arms, guys. Because you have this constant pressure that you need to maintain. This consistent movement always. And with that, you have an immense pressure on the wrist and in the forearm. Here in this area. So hand polishing is still something for the really tough ones. Not for someone as soft as me. So, really give it some oomph here. So, the paint is saying, come on, please use my polishing machine. But look, the pad has even become lukewarm. The power has distributed nicely in the pad. Look, it worked well. Nice polish. Spreads super in the pad. Very, very nice. Let's take a cloth. We'll get the lamp and then we'll give it a try. And then I'll bring you in here. I'm really curious about what the result is now. So in any case, it has definitely become super smooth. Oh, there's a real thick scratch on it. So now I'm curious, folks. Hand polishing. Let's take a look together. Well, what do you think? And wow, just look at that. Hand polishing. That doesn't look so bad at all. We still have all the little microstone chips. There are still light scratches on it. I'll pull the tape down a bit so we can see the difference right at the edge. So, folks, I am a machine. Look at this. But one must clearly say, there are still a few small scratches on it. But you can see how much a hand polish can achieve. That's pretty impressive, isn't it? Look at that. So very, very nice here at the edges. You see, I didn't work properly there. You can really see it well. There we have those small fine damages again. Also up here, for example, I didn't work properly. I have them in again. 2001, and somewhere up here, it has to get worse again. Where do we have the transition? There. It starts around there. So here, very, very clearly, there are still small things in it. But overall, the picture has improved significantly, hasn't it? In the camera, it always looks a bit different than in reality. So if I look here without the camera, I've been looking at the display all the time. You can still see. You can see a lot of stone chips on the surface. There are still a few longitudinal scratches, cross scratches, but those circular things, like over here, are no longer there. So what you can see now, I assure you 100%, what you see here in the camera really looks almost the same in reality. Only that there are still a few very small fine things in it that sometimes flash a bit. You might see it there. But overall, I have to say, it has become very, very good. I wouldn't have thought that. Very, very nice. So it's good for me to know again. If you're looking for a hand polish, then I can definitely recommend it to someone. Keep in mind, there are sealing components included here. It is also clearly labeled, silicone containing, and also comes with a small quick sealant. That means if you really want to quickly fix something on the car regarding those small scratches, just for the, I would say, the average consumer who simply wants a polish and wants to achieve as much as possible, even with a hand polish, they can get a small 250 ml bottle here. It is also included in the starter set with the polishing machine. So for quick actions, that works absolutely fine. If you say, I want to apply something else as a sealant after the polish, then just take a cloth with a degreaser, go over the surface again, and you can remove it very quickly. So that's not a problem at all. But as I said, there is a small quick sealant included, which can also be removed very quickly if you want. I'll put that here, and now let's do the following test. I am taking the Exonym 406. It has 2 points more in the rating for the cut. This is really just an experiment of mine. So the combo with the medium pad works much, much, much better than I expected before the video. Let's stick the tape back on here. We then have the unpolished strip exactly between the two fields of 2001, and now here. That's the nice thing about Sonax polishes. You know that nothing gets stuck. Even if the thing sits for half a year, the head doesn't get stuck. That's really the great part. Nothing starts to dust. You don't have to take the head off here and rinse it under the faucet to get anything out, even if the bottle has been sitting for a long time. And I really have bottles that are over a year old. So I have gone through many, many bottles from all the workshops, and sometimes I don't pay attention to finishing one first. Definitely have about 15 of the small bottles here. And sometimes you grab one that has been sitting for over a year from the first workshops, and you really just have the point where you shake it a bit, open the cap here, turn it around, and it comes out. So that's the nice part. I'll put a bit more polish on right away, so we don't have that squeaking right away. So, I'm obviously not a lab machine. I am a machine, yes, but the comparability is not 100% given because I haven't measured exactly how many seconds I've polished here. at which spot and how often. It's just a really rough comparison, but I like to mention that as well. You can tell right away I put a bit more polish on, and now we only have a very slight squeak. So if you are polishing by hand and the car doesn't shake along, then you definitely need to shift up a level. The car must swing along. Only then do you know there's power behind it. 1,000. Now we have, so to speak, 4 out of 6. Cut. 1,000. I want to take a look. Really nice moisture content removed. So if he brings the polishes to dust during hand processing, then there is a price. Very, very nice. And the X is not a polish for hand processing. I can take a quick look. Is that still written on the back? So clearly intended for machines, of course. X for eccentric. But still, we can try it out. So, then excuse me, I'm going to really get going here. So guys, an important tip. When you polish by hand, get a buddy to help you out. Best to have 2 or 3 more, then it goes faster. It is definitely not something I recommend for an entire vehicle surface. So you will, quickly, reach your physical limits and also your motivational limits here, because it just wears you out. Over time, folks, holy machine. So, it worked out nicely, here during the polishing. It can be tested super easily. Here is a small stone chip. A fiber got caught. So, let me get the light. Now let's take a look at it. Let's go. I'm going to remove the tape right away. So, here we have the transition, and here. And just from the perspective, I don't know if it comes through the camera. I only have the white car here. Regarding scratch reduction. If you really look at the entire surface, let's move over here. There is no clear difference that we got more cut here because, as I said, I'm polishing the whole thing by hand, and of course, the power transfer is lacking. The machines will produce much better results. So here, you can write in which side you prefer. Look, here we have a thick piece of scratches again, but here are a few stone chips, unpolished, and here we also have a few stone chips and a few small scratches in it. So write in how you see this over the camera. But I think there is no massive difference. So both polishes work reliably, I would say. Very, very cool. I quickly need to remove the stripe. Otherwise, it looks very strange. I'm really curious about your feedback. What do you think about the topic? Have you also worked with these polishes or perhaps others by hand? I will still remove the stripe a bit so that it becomes nice and even. So in terms of application, I definitely find both usable for that, but it was clearly seen that the potential of the one with the number 4 is there. You can't apply that by hand to the surface at all. You need a polishing machine. Then the difference would be significantly greater. And anyone who wants to polish more by hand can definitely take this one along and just get started with it. With a nice hand polishing aid, a nice pad to go with it, and then you can definitely do that. So the transition is no longer visible now. I only have the ceiling light here as a reference. The car shakes slightly. That's how it should be. So here, this is not hand polishing, folks. This is just applying. You really have to apply pressure here. Grip it properly, and off you go. I am truly amazed at how much can be brought out, but it really just doesn't make it fun. In the long run, due to the effort involved. For small areas, definitely you can do it by hand, but for larger things, I would recommend a polishing machine. They start at around 90. Nice set, a few good polishes, and you will definitely have a clear time advantage. You will be more effective, especially when the scratches are deeper. You will achieve a much nicer result, much faster. And that makes a polishing machine very, very attractive in that regard. The prices are really quite low as well. And you can get nice materials with which you can work for a very, very long time. Nevertheless, we saw that it definitely achieved a significant improvement, and I am personally surprised. I even think it's very, very good. So, for example, if someone approaches the car and I stand on the side, I have to say that for a car with 184,000 kilometer, which I believe was not spared, and with a small dent and minor stone chips, the before and after result is definitely something I would say is doable, but it is incredibly exhausting, time-consuming, and really strains the arms. And if you have any questions about it, feel free to leave them in the comments below. This also works here on the roof. It works on the A-pillar as well. Tape off the areas where you don't want polish to get. And then you can also train your arm here properly for the beach body this summer, and you can write feedback in the comments about whether you have worked with it before or if you are generally someone who polishes by hand more often. Maybe you have a few tips for me as well, where you say, Sebastian, I have this technique for polishing by hand, works really, really well. I am really curious, so I want to cater to all machine users. And I also want to cater to everyone who polishes by hand here. And it is definitely interesting to see both in comparison. Very, very exciting. Until then, thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, I'm always available on WhatsApp. Sebastian, see you next time. Bye. Thank you.